The lecture hall fell silent as the MIT professor's challenge echoed, sharp and unforgiving, testing not just knowledge but character. Elon's son stood steady, heart pounding but eyes clear, knowing this moment could define more than just his reputation. The air was thick with anticipation, every student waiting for the answer that could make or break him. Doubts tried to creep in, but he pushed them aside, trusting a deeper wisdom that had carried him this far. You don't just answer questions. Here, the professor said, you face the weight of legacy and expectation. His voice held both challenge and warning, a gauntlet thrown at the feet of a young man ready to prove himself. Elon's son's response wasn't just about facts or formulas. It was a testament to resilience and unexpected grace. When the words finally came, they stunned the room into breathless silence, shifting the energy like a sudden storm. His answer wasn't perfect. It was human, raw, and deeply honest, cutting through the noise of arrogance and fear. In that charged moment, something shifted, not just in the room, but in the young man's own understanding of strength. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. The weight of expectations sat heavy on his shoulders, more than any test or lecture could ever demand. Elon's son felt every eye burning into him, every whispered doubt slicing through the room's tense air. You're the future, they said, the one who will carry a legacy far greater than your own dreams. But beneath the confidence, a fragile vulnerability lingered, a silent battle he fought every day, unseen and unheard. It wasn't just about being smart or brilliant. It was about being enough in a world that expected perfection. In those quiet moments, the pressures felt unbearable, threatening to crush the fragile hope that kept him moving forward. Yet, amidst it all, a flicker of determination ignited, a refusal to let fear dictate his story. He knew the road ahead was littered with challenges no textbook could prepare him for. But the hardest lessons, he realized, were learned outside of labs and lecture halls, in the heart's quiet corners. And so, with steady breath, he faced the room again, ready to meet whatever came next. The professor's question hit like a sudden storm, slicing through the silence with unrelenting force. It wasn't just a question, it was a challenge wrapped in doubt, testing not only knowledge but courage itself. How do you handle failure when the world expects nothing less than success? The words hung heavy. For a moment, time seemed to freeze, the room waiting, breathing, holding its collective breath. Elon's son felt the sting of the questions. Truth, a raw wound beneath polished ambition. Failure was a shadow that haunted every step, a whisper that threatened to undo years of striving. Yet, within that sting, a deeper lesson began to take shape, a secret strength hidden in vulnerability. He realized that failure wasn't an enemy, but a teacher, demanding humility and resilience in return. The question wasn't about being perfect, it was about being real, honest, and willing to grow. And in that moment, he found the courage to answer not with words, but with heart. His answer came slowly at first, each word weighed with care and raw emotion. Failure, he said, is not the end. It's the beginning of something deeper, understanding who you really are. The room held its breath as he spoke of pain, doubt, and the quiet strength that comes from falling. He didn't offer a polished solution or a perfect plan, just truth, spoken from a place of honest struggle. I've failed, he admitted, more times than I can count. But those failures shaped me, not shattered me. His voice cracked, but the power behind his words was undeniable. This was vulnerability, not weakness. For the first time, the students saw beyond the legacy, the human being behind the name. The silence that followed was not awkward. It was reverent, a collective moment of recognition. His courage to speak truth to power sparked something unexpected, a wave of empathy in a sea of pressure. And in that silence, a seed of hope was planted, promising growth beyond the weight of expectation. In the midst of relentless pressure, a moment of grace emerged, a quiet clarity that transcended fear and doubt. It was not found in accolades or approval, but in the courage to stand vulnerable before thousands. The world outside demanded perfection, but here, in this sacred space, imperfection became a source of strength. Elon's son felt a shift within, a release from chains forged by fear and expectation. The applause was not immediate, but the impact was profound, a silent acknowledgement of his bravery. This moment was more than a victory. It was a rebirth, a stepping stone toward authentic selfhood. In the eyes of his peers, he saw not judgment, but understanding, a shared human experience of struggle. It was a reminder that greatness is not measured by flawless success, but by the courage to rise again. This grace was a gift, fragile yet powerful, promising resilience in the face of future storms. And with this newfound strength, he prepared to face whatever the next challenge would bring. The legacy Elon built cast a long shadow, one impossible to escape, a heavy mantle passed down without choice or consent. Every step his son took felt measured against an invisible ruler, a harsh judge of worth and achievement. The world expected him to be more than human, to carry not just a name, but the weight of history. Behind closed doors, that expectation became a silent prison, constricting his breath and clouding his dreams. Yet, beneath the burden lay a fierce desire to define himself, to be more than just an echo. It was a struggle between honoring the past and forging a future where his own voice could be heard. Each day was a tightrope walk between public triumph and private fear of never measuring up. But in the stillness of night, he found a quiet rebellion, a refusal to be defined solely by legacy. This battle, unseen by many, was where true courage was born, not in accolades, but in self-discovery. And so, he faced the world again, ready to carve his own path from the shadows. Doubt crept in like a thief in the night, stealing confidence and replacing it with paralyzing fear. Questions flooded his mind. Was he truly capable, or just a shadow of his father's success? The pressure to excel became a deafening roar, drowning out the whispers of his own dreams. In those dark moments, isolation felt like the only refuge from relentless judgment. He wrestled with the fear of failure, the crushing weight of expectations threatening to break him. But doubt, though heavy, was not defeat. It was a test of resilience, a call to deeper strength. He realized growth could only come through embracing fear, not running from it. The battle within was raw and unrelenting, but necessary, a crucible for transformation. In the quiet, he found a flicker of hope, a belief that even the darkest nights end with dawn. And with that hope, he prepared to face the storm once more, stronger and more determined. Behind every confident smile lay unseen struggles, an internal war fought in silence, hidden from public eyes. The pressure to excel in academics and innovation was relentless, a constant race with no finish line. Nights stretched endlessly, filled with self-doubt and the haunting fear of disappointing those who believed in him. Each failure felt magnified, a personal defeat echoing louder in his own heart than anywhere else. Yet, these struggles were the silent architects of resilience, shaping a strength few could understand. He learned that vulnerability was not a flaw, but a bridge to genuine connection and growth. The journey was not about perfection, but persistence through pain and doubt. Every setback became a lesson, every tear a step toward healing and hope. The world saw only success, but he knew the cost, the price paid in sleepless nights and silent tears. And in those quiet battles, the foundation of his future was being forged, strong and unbreakable. Just when the weight felt unbearable, An unexpected mentor appeared, a quiet presence offering wisdom beyond textbooks. This professor saw beyond grades and accolades, recognizing the young man's hidden pain and potential. Their late-night talks became a refuge, a place where doubts were met with understanding, not judgment. The mentor's words were simple, yet profound. Strength grows in the soil of vulnerability, not invincibility. He learned to embrace his flaws as part of his unique story, not reasons for shame. The professor's guidance illuminated a path forward, one paved with grace, resilience, and self-compassion. For the first time, failure felt less like a curse and more like a teacher gently nudging him forward. This unexpected bond sparked a new confidence, a belief that he was enough just as he was. The mentor's faith became a beacon, lighting the darkest corners of his self-doubt. And with renewed strength, he stepped back into the world, ready to rewrite his own narrative. The turning point came quietly, without fanfare, a moment of clarity amidst chaos and confusion. He realized that success wasn't about living up to others' expectations, but about finding peace within himself. This revelation shifted his perspective, transforming fear into opportunity and pressure into purpose. He embraced the imperfect journey, understanding that true strength lies in perseverance, not perfection. The world's noise faded, replaced by an inner voice guiding him toward authenticity and grace. With each step forward, he shed the weight of legacy and doubt, reclaiming his own story. This moment was not the end of struggle, but a new beginning, hope rising from ashes. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, he walked it, with courage and faith. The journey was his alone, filled with challenges, growth, and the promise of self-discovery. And as sunlight broke through the clouds, he smiled, ready to face whatever came next. The weight of expectations crushed him daily. Each achievement felt like a borrowed victory, never truly his own. In that lecture hall, surrounded by curious eyes, he struggled to hide the tremor beneath his calm facade. The pressure was suffocating, a relentless demand to perform flawlessly while grappling with his own self-doubt. His thoughts raced. Will they accept the real me, or only the image they expect? Every question felt like a test, not just of knowledge, but of worthiness and belonging. He realized the hardest battles were fought internally, invisible to the world but deafening to his soul. Yet, amidst that pressure, a quiet determination began to grow. He would not be defined by fear. He spoke not just with words, but with the courage to be vulnerable in front of thousands. In that moment, he stepped beyond expectation and into authenticity, carving space for his true self. The crowd saw a confident speaker, but inside, a boy was learning to trust himself for the first time. The question came suddenly, sharp and unyielding, challenging not just his mind, but his very identity. The room fell silent, every eye locked onto him, waiting for an answer that would reveal his true strength. Doubt threatened to consume him, but deep inside, a spark ignited, a refusal to be broken by fear. His response was thoughtful, raw, and unexpectedly profound, silencing skeptics and stirring something powerful in listeners. That moment was more than a victory. It was a declaration of self-belief in the face of scrutiny. He learned that truth, spoken boldly, could shift perceptions and open doors once thought closed. The question wasn't a threat. It was an invitation to step into his own power. That night, he realized the value of courage over certainty and authenticity over approval. His answer echoed beyond the walls of that auditorium, inspiring others to find their own voices. It was the turning point where fear became fuel, propelling him toward a future he would define. Victory was sweet, but in the silence that followed, loneliness crept in like a cold shadow. The applause faded, replaced by the echo of his own restless thoughts and unanswered questions. Success didn't erase the doubts or fears. It only magnified the quiet battles waging within. He wrestled with the paradox of being celebrated, yet feeling isolated from his own truth. The world saw a hero, but behind closed doors, he was a boy still searching for belonging. That silence was a reminder. External success can never fully fill an internal void. It was a call to deeper healing, to embracing vulnerability rather than hiding behind achievement. In solitude, he found space to reflect, to grieve, and to dream anew. The journey wasn't about perfection. It was about wholeness, acceptance, and learning to be at peace. And in that quiet, he began to rebuild not just his reputation, but his soul. Forgiveness became the unexpected key to freedom from himself, from others, from the heavy chains of judgment. He learned that holding on to anger and regret only deepened wounds and stifled growth. Letting go was not weakness, but an act of profound courage and self-love. In forgiving those who doubted him, he found healing and a lighter heart. Most importantly, he forgave himself for past mistakes, embracing imperfections as lessons, not failures. This new grace allowed him to move forward without the weight of bitterness or shame. Forgiveness opened doors to compassion toward others, and, most importantly, toward himself. He realized peace was not the absence of struggle, but the presence of acceptance and love. Each step in forgiveness was a step toward reclaiming joy and hope. And as the dawn broke, so too did a new chapter of healing and strength begin. Embracing the unknown was the hardest lesson, a leap of faith beyond comfort and certainty. Fear whispered warnings, but curiosity and hope sang louder songs of possibility. He learned that growth lives outside the safety of the familiar, in the wild terrain of risk. Each unknown step was a chance to discover hidden strengths and untapped courage. The path ahead was obscured, but trust in himself became a guiding light through the fog. This embrace of uncertainty was not reckless. It was a courageous dance with life's mysteries. He realized control was an illusion. Surrender was true power. With heart open and mind curious, he stepped forward, ready for whatever came next. The unknown no longer intimidated him. It invited him to write his own story. And in that vastness, he found freedom, freedom to grow, to fail, to become whole. Failure once haunted him, a dark shadow of shame and regret, but now it whispered lessons only courage could hear. Each setback peeled away illusions, exposing raw truths that no success could reveal. He realized failure wasn't the enemy. It was the teacher he had refused to listen to. Embracing failure became an act of rebellion against fear, a step toward real growth. In the quiet aftermath of every loss, he discovered resilience quietly taking root. Failure gave him humility, patience, and a renewed hunger for the journey ahead. It taught him that falling doesn't define a man, how he rises does. With every bruise, he grew stronger, shedding the need for external validation. Failure, once feared, was now a friend, guiding him toward wisdom and strength. And in its strange grace, he found the courage to keep dreaming, keep trying, keep living. Amid the storm of doubt, an unexpected friendship emerged, a lifeline tethered to authenticity and shared struggle. He found solace in someone who saw beyond the image to the imperfect soul beneath. This friendship wasn't built on status or success, but on vulnerability and truth. Together, they navigated the harsh terrain of expectation and self-discovery. Trust blossomed where judgments once reigned, creating space for healing and growth. In the warmth of genuine connection, fear loosened its grip and hope rekindled. He learned that true friendship is a sanctuary, a mirror reflecting one's true worth. This bond became a reminder. No one walks this journey alone, no matter how lonely it feels. Their laughter and tears intertwined, stitching together a story of resilience and grace. And through this unexpected gift, he discovered the power of human connection to heal and transform. Legacy weighed heavy, a shadow cast long and cold, blurring lines between honor and expectation. He wrestled with the invisible chains binding him to a future not fully his own. The world expected greatness, but at what cost to his own identity? Each achievement felt borrowed, a chapter written in another's name, not his. He longed to break free, to write his own story without guilt or fear. This burden taught him the price of greatness: isolation, self-doubt, and relentless pressure. Yet, within that struggle, he found a fierce desire to honor and redefine legacy. He realized legacy isn't just inheritance. It's the courage to be authentically yourself. That understanding transformed burden into fuel, a fire to light his unique path forward. And with each step, he embraced his story, imperfect but undeniably his own. After years of searching, clarity came softly, like dawn breaking through a long, restless night. The revelation was simple yet profound. He didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Freedom blossomed in the acceptance of imperfection, of limits, and of his own humanity. He saw that true strength lay in embracing vulnerability, not hiding from it. The masks he wore fell away, revealing a soul ready to shine on its own terms. This moment wasn't the end, but a new beginning, a release from chains of doubt. Hope rekindled as he understood that worth isn't measured by achievements, but by love and grace. His future no longer a script written by others, but a story authored by his heart. This revelation gave him peace, a gift more valuable than any accolade or applause. And as the sun set, he stepped into the night, fearless, free, and fully alive. Success had been a milestone, but not the destination. The true journey lay beyond applause and accolades. He discovered that purpose isn't found in trophies, but in meaning, connection, and impact. The road ahead was uncharted, filled with uncertainty and infinite possibility. He embraced this unknown with open arms, fueled by lessons of grace and resilience. Each step forward was a testament to courage, faith, and relentless hope. The journey beyond success was messy, beautiful, and deeply human. It was about lifting others, sharing light, and walking humbly through life's trials. He found joy, not in perfection, but in progress, growth, and love. And though the future remained a mystery, he no longer feared it. He welcomed it. This was not the end of a story, but the beginning of a legacy defined by heart, not fame. What did you think of Elon's son's journey from doubt to resilience? We'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole story. Where are you watching this video from? Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others who might find inspiration in this tale. Thank you for joining us.